Glad to have you join us on the program. I am Folashade Ogurinde. Latest reports by the Nigeria National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) has shown that Nigeria got zero revenue from crude oil exports in the month of October. According to the NNPC, this is as a result of payments made for subsidy, which amounted to the sum of 199 billion naira in October. The NNPC further explained that the zero revenue recorded comes despite an average daily oil production of 1.417 million barrels in the month of September. Joining me to discuss this further is financial analyst Mr. Kalu Aja. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, this is not the first time the NNPC would declare zero revenue, but considering other critical factors such as shortfall in crude oil production, what do you make of this development?
Hi, Folashade. It's pretty simple. NNPC is making revenues, but all the revenue is going towards paying a subsidy. So that's the opportunity cost that Nigeria has to bear for having cheap gas. I think they're making about $1 trillion, and all that is basically going to fuel subsidies from January to October 2021. So that's the cost that we have to bear. So that's basically it.
Now, the NNPC said its inability to make profits is due to the burden of subsidy payments. Now, do you agree that scrapping subsidies is the only way the oil sector can become profitable?
The NNPC makes money and then pays to FARC, right? And they've paid about $1 trillion for 2021 already. If you break that down, I saw a World Bank report that basically said we're spending about 13,000 naira per person per subsidy. For health, we're spending about 3,000 naira per person. So the only way we're already profitable. NNPC sells a very, very profitable product, crude oil, but it's just taking all the profit to pay subsidy. So if you look at the records, they do make a remittance, but the remittance is being eaten up by subsidies. So there's profit, but what I would do with the profit is a problem. We are making a choice to use that profit to ensure there's cheap gas across Nigeria and it's also exported, right? And we're not using that profit to maybe educate or treat our kids. That's the problem.
Now, experts hold divergent views on the issue of subsidy itself. But in the short and long term, will the economy be better, or would we have a case of skyrocketing inflation, as some experts have predicted?
Well, the money is already being spent. So already the subsidy payments already are being exported. So we're paying for imported PMS, which means we're paying to a foreigner. So that's a cost and opportunity cost for Nigerians, not getting the money in Nigeria. If we were to increase the price of gas, right, the subsidy went away, and then we took that money and we invested correctly, the right way, back into the country, say in infrastructure, for instance, then there'll be higher price of gas, but then Nigeria maybe would have power and good roads. So there's always going to be a cost. There's always going to be pain. But right now, we're not getting the revenues, and we also don't have infrastructure. So we're getting bit on both ends, and we have no benefits.
Now let's talk about diversification of the economy, because definitely you cannot talk about crude oil revenue and shortfall in revenue generally for Nigeria without talking about diversification of the economy. Now, we know very well that, the present administration has rolled out several policies and initiatives on agriculture and other subsectors of the economy. But currently, some experts would say that we've really not seen the impact of these policies on the economy. Would you say, or what do you think the government is yet to do, or what do you think is the factor here? Why do you think these policies are not being, the effect of these policies are not being seen currently in the economy?
A good question. I think, number one, the economy is diversified. I think crude oil in Nigeria is less than 10% of our GDP. Our GDP is coming from agriculture, trade, telecoms, right? So the problem really is the cost of doing business in Nigeria is very, very expensive. It's cheaper to import than to manufacture from Nigeria, and that's a problem. So if you don't manufacture, then you don't create jobs, you don't create wealth. That's really is the problem. Infrastructure and the cost of doing business in Nigeria is very, very expensive. And because we don't have a way to then manufacture cheaper, we can't employ a lot of Nigerians, and Nigerians cannot earn a decent wage. We also do not have high consumption because salaries are very, very low. Minimum wage is very, very low. So if you put all this together, you don't have an economy that is import-driven low consumption, and basically low wages. And that's why we don't see that effect. The economy is just not producing enough jobs or enough wealth to sustain the population that we have.
Now let's talk about the crude oil production capacity of Nigeria. Now, according to the NNPC report, for that particular month, the total crude oil production summed up to over 1.4 billion barrels. Now, we certainly have a quota by OPEC, and definitely Nigeria is not meeting up to that quota. What do you think should be done, especially when it comes to Nigeria's inability to meet up with this quota, which is of course affecting our own side in terms of revenue?
I don't think we've ever met that quota. We always go up and we have this high production per day target that we never really meet. But the problem really is not even the quota. The problem is that even if we did meet that quota, where will the funds go to? I think that's where we have to really maybe ask the question. If we did meet our quota 100%, then what happens? Already we have the NNPC as a target of 2 trillion. And this year it's only met about 511 billion out of that target. So you can see that already we're 75% off the target for NNPC, which is driven by not meeting that quota and of course by lower crude oil prices in the international market. We have a production sharing way that we share distribute oil. So even when we do sell that crude oil, we have high cost to it. We've passed the PIB. So let's hope that would then translate to NNPC being more flexible in the marketplace and again generate more revenues by cost savings and being more efficient. We shouldn't have the same price of gas across the whole of Nigeria. That's inefficiencies. There are no real ways to transport the products across Nigeria. So more like if we can fix the inefficiencies in-house, then even the production that we do make may be sufficient for us. We do a lot of waste really in the sale and distribution of petroleum products, and that's going to be a problem for us.
Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you, financial analyst Kalu Aja. Many thanks for your contributions on the program. We'll take a break here and return with an analysis of the e-Naira and its impact on the economy. Do stay with us.
Corruption not in my country.
Hello? Yeah, I found your wallet in front of a supermarket. Meet me at Apple Junction. Yes, I'll be waiting for you.
Now we find out. 2 of us.
Thank you very much, officer. It's surprising that men like you still exist in the police force.
Yes, so...
Oh, yes.
This is just a token of my appreciation.
Oh, no, you don't need to do this. We're only doing our job.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
You're welcome.
Now I know police is really my friend.
Yes.
Friend. Hey. Which came up with this one? I don't understand.
You know your problem. You are greedy. I'm a policeman who is doing his job. All forms of corruption in the force. Not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Welcome back. Despite a delay in its launch and early operational hiccups, sources within the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, said the e-Naira has successfully completed 46.3 million naira worth of transactions. The e-Naira, Africa's first digital currency, is set to address financial inclusion, help improve economic activities, as well as facilitate easy cross-border payments and trade. But like digital currencies elsewhere, the e-Naira carries risks for monetary policy implementation, cybersecurity, operational resilience, and financial integrity and stability. But joining me to discuss this further, I'm joined now by economist and CEO, Center for the Promotion of Private Enterprise, Dr. Muda Yusuf. Thank you very much for joining us on the program. So the e-Naira has been in operation for over a month now. How would you rate its performance so far?
Well, generally, the e-Naira has not gained the kind of traction that we expect. And it is not unexpected because it takes time for that kind of platform to inspire the right kind of trust and the right kind of confidence. Because we are talking about financial transactions here. And before people can have that kind of confidence to begin to utilize it or make use of the platform, it will take some time. More so when we have other functioning payment platforms that many Nigerians and many people are already used to, and have been serving them very well. We have all manner of mobile platforms. We have the POS platform. We have the web payment platform. We have the electronic payment platform. There are so many platforms in which transactions are being made. And people have quite a lot of confidence on these platforms. Transactions as high as totally almost 40 trillion are taking place on these platforms on an annual basis. So really, there is no hurry. People are not under any pressure to continue to go and be staking their resources or staking their finances or funds on the e-Naira platform. So it will take some time, because we are talking here about trust. It takes time for trust to be built on a platform like this. I think that is why we are having the kind of very low uptake or low traction as far as the e-Naira is concerned. And in addition to that, only recently the central bank said it was not going to take any liability for any loss of funds or any fraudulent act or things that happens on the e-Naira platform. That has further eroded the confidence and trust of many stakeholders on that platform. So generally, it will take time for that trust level to get to a point that people will begin to utilize the platform for purposes of transactions.
So let's talk about the associated risk to digital transactions. What major fears or reservations do you think people have?
Well, on the contrary, part of the fears that people have about the e-Naira is the fact that they have some issues of transparency and disclosure and proper identification of the flow of transactions on that platform. So if people have any fears, it's about the fact that they are not confident that they will not lose money. So the assertion that it's transparent and it will give confidence, I think it will take time for that to be validated. Because right now, there is that concern about the fact that the risk of utilizing the platform is still high, because first, the information is still very sketchy. Secondly, there is no indemnity either by the CBN or by any bank against the loss of money or things like that. So that is the situation with regard to the trust level and the confidence level.
So at the launch of the e-Naira, President Buhari said the digital currency is expected to help grow the nation's GDP by $29 billion in 10 years. Do you see that happening?
With respect to the fact that it will enhance the growth of the GDP, again, that is debatable. It's something that we can interrogate, because there is no direct correlation between the use of e-Naira and the scaling of GDP. GDP is about the totality of the economic transactions, about the totality of the output in the economy, and we need a lot more. There are much more fundamental factors that drive the growth of GDP. There are factors generally around things that inspire investments, either in the services or in the real economy, things around the policy environment, things around the regulatory environment, things around the structural environment. I think those are the much more fundamental issues that are driving GDP. I don't think that e-Naira has any significant bearing on GDP performance.
So let's talk about the benefits and values. Beyond the proposed financial inclusion, what other advantages are attached to the use of the e-Naira?
Exactly the value proposition is around this digital currency or e-Naira or whatever it is. Because for us to be able to convince people to migrate from the regular platforms, electronic payment platforms and other platforms that quite a number of people are used to, we need to be able to establish the value proposition, the value that this e-Naira and other digital currencies, cryptocurrencies are actually bringing to the table. Otherwise, it will be very difficult to convince people to migrate in any significant way into some of these new platforms that are being created.
Now, finally, before I let you go, do you see the e-Naira playing a major role in the Africa Free Trade Agreement, especially in the area of digital transactions?
In the short to medium term, no. I don't see it playing any major role. Because already we have quite a number of electronic payment systems that a lot of businesses and individuals have been using to undertake their financial transactions globally, regionally, and continentally. That is already going on. Then, secondly, the African Development Bank, the Afrexim Bank, has already created an electronic payment platform, which is to facilitate payments under the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. I think that is going to, earn a lot more confidence and a lot more trust than the e-Naira, because that is being driven by Afrexim Bank, and a lot of work has gone into it. There have been some, trial transactions that have been done in a few countries. So with that in place, I don't see the e-Naira, gaining such a quick acceptance. If it's going to gain any acceptance at all, it will take some time, not in the short term, maybe in the medium to long term, when confidence grows, when the trust level increases, then perhaps you can see a lot more transaction to facilitate the African Continental Free Trade Agreement.
Well, economist and CEO, Center for the Promotion of Private Enterprise, Dr. Muda Yusuf, thank you very much for your contributions on the program.
Thank you.
I need to wrap on the program. Many thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye for now.